Hi everybody, welcome back to B-Man School of Business. If any of you ever wondered how we came up with that name, a long time ago my nephew started calling me Uncle B, and it kind of stuck. And then it was B-Man and B and so on. So just kind of a funny reason for B-Man School of Business. So you remember the mission, it's really to help students bridge their classroom lessons to the practical business knowledge and some common sense things that we can talk about that I've learned over the 40 years of being involved in a startup business that grew rather successfully. So whole purpose and reason to be there. Now, if you remember last time we talked about departments, and we went into this fairly in depth around the customers and the markets, marketing and operations and so on. But if you, when you leave school or you go out and you start your own business, think of these as functions that have to take place in order for your business to be successful long term. So you might end up wearing multiple hats. You could be in a small company, startup, you could have 3 or 4 of these. You could be the marketing person and the salesperson, or the operations person and the engineering person. And interestingly enough, oftentimes startups, people get the idea to start a company, they have one customer that has a big need, and they start there, and then they have to expand. And that's not uncommon for you to say, oh, well, XYZ customer, they need this, we think this would be a good service and I could support my family and another half a dozen people, or whatever that might be. But they start here with one customer, one need, one specific thing, and then as it grows, it has to get really sophisticated over time. Each one of these functions become more and more complicated, and eventually you as the entrepreneur that started the company really don't have the expertise to do the marketing, or maybe you don't have the expertise to do the engineering or the sales or whatever it is. So you start to hire people into these functions to help you grow and maintain your business and be more professional and be more successful. So think of it as the lesson we had before. These are departments in big companies, that functions in small companies where people wear multiple hats, and you could be asked to do that. So as you study, whether it's finance or accounting or general business or engineering or whatever it might be, you're going to go into a business, you're going to find a place. And interestingly enough, a lot of the students that I talk to, whatever they studied in school doesn't always mean that's what they become when they go into business. So you're not just limited by your education, but it is a good starting point and for when you go and start your company. I wanted to add one more thing that I taught a lot of the managers that work for me when we brought them into the company, and it's around decision making and thinking. And this applies in all sizes of business, but it was interesting. In 1990, when I got my first big promotion, I was taking on a division that had 200 people in it. And I'm sitting at McDonald's with my father, you know, all the old guys sit around, drink coffee. And he had run his own business for a lot of years and worked for a local utility company. And I asked him a question about, you know, I'm a little nervous, what do I think about? And he's a simple guy. He said, you know, I've always found that if you take care of your employees, and they take care of your customers appropriately, everything else kind of works out. So from that, this next lesson about decision making, I wanted to share a thought. Think about the stakeholders of your company, right? And stakeholders are people that have a vested interest in your success. So certainly the predominant one that we think about is customers, right? You have to create value for customers, and we'll talk more about that in the future, but very important to your company. Good customers that you're serving them. That's the key to success, key to your future. Without customers, you don't have a business, right? Second thing is employees. Back to what my father told me, take care of your employees and they take care of the customers. That's a recipe for success. And lastly, your company, its success, its profitability, its growth. So all the people that work for your company, that invest in your company, they're stakeholders. So you think about this triangle, and when you make decisions for your business, whether you're running a department, a division, or you're running your own company, you'll need some level of balance when you make these decisions. Now think about it. Depending on what's going on in the business, anytime you'll make decisions for one or two or three of these stakeholders, anytime you can make a decision that positively impacts one stakeholder but does not negatively impact the others, do it, right? It's a no-brainer. And but oftentimes as a leader, you're going to be stuck making trade-offs. Sometimes you'll make a decision for a customer that maybe doesn't necessarily impact the profitability of your company positively. Or you'll make a decision for an employee that doesn't impact your profitability. Or you'll make a decision for profitability that maybe creates a hardship for a customer or an employee. At any one point in time, you'll be forced to make these trade-offs and these decisions, and you have to be comfortable with that, and they have to be well thought out. But for the long term, just know that you need balance in these, because if you ignore any one of these for any long period of time and don't deal with those, economic conditions and that set aside, it's going to create a problem for your business. So I wanted to talk about those functions. I wanted to share, this is a conversation I had with every manager that came to work for me, whether they run a big piece of our business or a small piece of our business, to make sure they were thinking about the business right. And I always go back to my father conversation. If I took care of my employees and they did a good job taking care of my customers, the profitability and health of the company would be a result of those things working right. So think about that. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. More to come. B-Man School of Business. If you want to email me, it's bmccully, or it's bmccully01@gmail.com. Feel free to send me a note. You want a particular topic you want me to talk to, or anything else along those lines. We'll continue to go and dive into a lot of things like profit and loss statements, company culture, those types of things in the future. Thanks. I hope this is helpful. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time on B-Man School of Business.